In 1997, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration picked up a sound in the South Pacific. It was incredibly loud, ultra-low frequency, and it registered on hydrophone sensors over 5,000 kilometers apart. Researchers called it the Bloop. The spectrogram profile of the noise looked distinctly biological, mimicking the signature of a living animal rather than a submarine or a seismic event. Based on the sheer volume required to project sound across that kind of distance, scientists hypothesized a creature exponentially larger than a blue whale. We have completely mapped less than 20% of the Earth's oceans. With the vast majority of the seafloor remaining an utter unknown, the existence of a massive, hidden leviathan was a mathematically plausible theory. But an animal of that size has to live somewhere, and finding its habitat requires looking at the actual conditions of the deep ocean. We have to ask what kind of biology can physically survive down there. To determine if a monster of this scale could actually exist, we have to test the theory against the brutal physical laws that govern life in the abyss. As you drop past 200 meters, the environment becomes highly hostile. All sunlight vanishes, and the water temperature plummets to near freezing. This diagram illustrates the next hurdle, escalating physical pressure. It increases by 1 atmosphere, or roughly 14 pounds per square inch, for every 10 meters you descend. By the time you reach the deepest trenches, you are dealing with 8 tons of water pressure per square inch. That is the physical equivalent of a full-grown elephant balancing on a postage stamp. Those crushing forces make it incredibly difficult to maintain a massive body. Resources are scarce, so predators have evolved highly specialized traits to maximize minimal food. The Gulper Eel, for example, developed a massive, loose jaw and an expandable stomach to swallow the rare, large prey it encounters, rather than expending the energy to grow giant itself. To navigate the absolute darkness, organisms have developed extreme workarounds. The Barreleye fish possesses highly sensitive, tubular eyes that rotate directly upward, allowing it to catch the incredibly faint silhouettes of prey passing overhead. Others manufacture their own light. The Anglerfish uses a modified dorsal spine that hosts glowing, symbiotic bacteria, dangling it like a physical fishing rod in the dark to lure prey directly into its mouth. Defense mechanisms are equally specialized. This image shows the vampire squid, a resident of the deep, low-oxygen layers. Standard defensive ink is useless in total darkness. Instead, this squid expels a thick cloud of glowing, bioluminescent slime to temporarily blind its attackers while it escapes. The physics of the abyss dictate the biology. The crushing pressure and extreme lack of food naturally select for highly efficient, bizarre, and small survivors. The environmental constraints of the deep ocean easily rule out a massive, energy-hungry leviathan as the source of the bloop. If the depths can only support highly specialized, smaller scavengers and predators, we are left with a physical contradiction. How did a highly localized noise manage to travel across 5,000 kilometers of open ocean? The answer lies in oceanic acoustics. As a baseline rule, sound moves highly efficiently through liquids, traveling roughly 5 times faster in water than it does in the air. But velocity alone doesn't explain the distance. This animated cross-section of the ocean shows how temperature, pressure, and salinity shift as you dive. Notice this distinct layer sitting precisely between 600 and 1,200 meters deep. This is known as the SOFAR channel. Within this exact depth, the physical properties of the water act as a natural waveguide. Instead of letting acoustic energy scatter upward to the surface or downward to the seafloor, the varying density of the water actively bends the sound waves back inward toward the center of the channel. By trapping the energy, this layer forms a highly efficient acoustic highway. Low-frequency noises that enter this exact depth range don't dissipate into the surrounding ocean. They are preserved and carried across entire ocean basins without losing power. The volume of the bloop was a product of the SOFAR channel itself, which funneled the acoustic energy across the ocean floor with minimal loss of power. The exact source remained unconfirmed until 2005. That year, NOAA researchers deployed a new set of hydrophones much further south, positioning them closer to the Antarctic coastline. The new data identified the frequency as a cryoseism, a massive ice quake caused by the movement of the Antarctic ice sheet. These geological events generate a specific acoustic signature that mirrors the low-frequency profiles typically seen in biological organisms. As millions of tons of glacial ice fractured, broke apart, and calved off the continent, collapsing violently into the dark water, the physical impact generated a colossal low-frequency roar. That immense acoustic energy plunged straight down into the water column and perfectly aligned with the SOFAR channel. The sound hitched a ride on that oceanic highway, traveling flawlessly to deceive hydrophones on the other side of the planet. Research continues to bridge the gaps in our knowledge. Biologists are now using DNA barcoding to link bizarre deep-sea larvae to their adult counterparts, identifying species that previously seemed like entirely different organisms. Yet the vast majority of the seafloor remains an unmapped frontier that easily defies our surface-level assumptions. We originally projected our own myths into the dark water, imagining a giant sea monster. But the reality, an alien ecosystem of glowing scavengers, crushing physics, and invisible global acoustic highways, proves that the strict biological and physical truths of the deep ocean are far more thrilling than anything we could invent.